Hey Sunshine, and welcome to the Duelist Bloom podcast, where we uncover and discover who we are through creating space to reconnect with ourselves. I'm your guide Bria, an involvement and life coach for moms. The key to you living as your authentic self is to evolve and witness. Now is the time to have courage and embrace change. Your relationship with yourself is the only true constant. Observing yourself throughout seasons of your life will allow you to always be in alignment with the desires of your heart. Before we get started, I have to remind you of your influence because you are an inspiration.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Duelist Bloom podcast. It's me, your girl, Bria. We're here, we're chatting, we're building a house directory, we're doing it. Have all the energy this evening, and I'm excited to hop straight into this episode. I'm gathering my notes and my thoughts as I'm doing this because I just turn the camera on. That's how it is sometimes, and I love it. I love what I do. But I would like to start today's episode by asking you this question. Who do you have the responsibility of showing up for? I'm going to give you a few moments to just think about that and say to yourself your answer. Who do you have the responsibility of showing up for? Okay, what'd you say? Let me know in the comments. What did you say? Because I want to know. Who do you have the responsibility of showing up for? And if you didn't say yourself, I'm upset. I'm upset because if you don't show up for yourself, you cannot show up for anybody else. You cannot show up for anybody else. And I think it's important to know the hierarchy, I'm going to use that word loosely, of who you should show up for. And you should always be your number one priority. But as we're breaking down the layers of your life, you have to realize that we're living life in this the way that I like to think about it is like, which analogy do I want to use? I'm going to go with the Russian doll one. You have an egg inside of an egg, inside of an egg, inside of an egg, right? The Russian doll thing, right? If we're thinking about that, at the core, you have to take care of yourself first before you can radiate that support, radiate that care, radiate that energy to anyone else through interactions. And so I want to break down the 4 layers of your life, okay? And you know I got a story to share with you all, so we'll start there. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes and visualize and dive into this little exercise that I'm going to guide you through, okay? So I want you to think about your life, okay? I want you to think about your life. And before you even start to think about all the aspects of what's going on, I want you to listen to your heartbeat. Feel yourself breathing. Feel your lungs expanding, the breath in your lungs, and just be in your body. You are here. Your body is your first home and is your first responsibility in taking care of yourself. And you're here. And I want you to open your eyes. And now you're in this space. All right? You're in this space. This is your home. This space is an extension of your being. And so with you and your home, this makes your inner world. This is your protective bubble. Your home is your place where your body comes to retreat to at the end of the day. So this is your inner world. If you don't let anybody in through those doors, they won't know what goes on in here. Just like nobody can enter nobody can enter your mind unless you open your mouth and communicate. But even then, there still can be a few things that can be disconnected, but let me stay focused. We're in this space, we're in our body, we're in our inner world of ourselves and our physical home and space. And so those are the first 2 eggs. This egg, and then we're expanding out and we're hitting the next shell, okay? And now, outside of this inner world, we have our community. We have our community. And this is where we choose our chosen family. This is where we get to choose who we want to spend time with, who we get to have, who we let have access to us, and who we want to interact with in the outside world, in the outer world, okay? And then outside of your community, you have the world. And so the way that you communicate with the world is through the things that you purchase and the things that you buy and how you maneuver big life in this world, okay? And so I want you to think about these 4 layers of your life: you, your home, your community, and the world. You couldn't see me, but those are the 4 things: you, your home, your community, and the world. These are the 4 layers of your life, okay? And it starts with you. You can't start to advocate for people in your community until you advocate for yourself. You can't show up for the world if you're not showing up for yourself. Does that make sense? As we're building our home directory, I want you to think about what is important to me in my inner world, specifically with myself and with those who I'm living with and the way that I like to run my household. And then also, you have your outer world. It's like, how do I want to interact with the world outside of me? Okay? And so when we're thinking about these things, because it's because we had to like take a step back from like getting so granular about our to-do list and our responsibilities, I think it first comes down to, how are we interacting with these 4 layers of our life? How? What is our relationship with the people we're living with? Whether you're single or you have a family, like if you have a roommate, or what is the flow and the energy of how you operate in your home? And so when you break down these 4 things, you can start to get specific about how you want to interact with yourself, how you want to interact with your direct family living in your household, how do you want this experience to look like, how do you want the experience within your friend groups and your communities and all the extracurricular activities that you're a part of, where you volunteer, going out to work, how do you want to show up there, who do you want to be in those places? And then in that space of sharing your art, with the world, you think about sharing your art, your why. If you have a business, this would be where you would put that in that category. This is how you interact with the world and making the world a better place. And even if you don't have a business, you can still show up and being a kind soul in this world and doing no harm, always being there as a support to those who are in the same, who identify with the same things that you identify with. Just for an example, I'm a vegan. And so in the world, the vegans community has a lot of things to say, and I don't identify with everything, but there are some people that I'm like, girl, you get it. You get it. They're not a part of my direct community, you know. I might not have access to these people, and I'm talking about social media in this way, but it's like, I support you supporting the greater cause of the world. Even if you're into like being eco-friendly, like that's how we're responding to the world and the environment in that way, okay? So I just want you guys to understand that it doesn't have to look a certain way. However you want to live your life and however you want to show up for these 4 aspects of your life, and it always comes back to you. If you're having some disconnect with any of the 3 layers outside of you, it usually means that you need to sit with yourself, figure out what you want to experience, because when you have decided that this is what you want to create, it's so much easier to radiate that out. And so if we think about it as in like, I can't think of a better analogy, but the way that I think about it is like that. You want to know how you want to feel. What is your, if you had to choose one thing that you wanted to experience every day, what would that be? And how would you carry it into the different aspects of your life? That's that's the point I'm trying to make. So I said a lot. And I really hope that it's resonating with you. And if it is, please let me know. You can let me know in the comments what was your biggest takeaway from today's episode. But it's really just showing you that you have the power to create the experience you want through being intentional. And so when you're intentional about the way that you interact with yourself, the way that you interact with your household and your family who is living with you, and those in your community and the people that you're interacting with in the world, it's important for you to decide what you want, because you have choice, you have power. And then from that place, you can be the gatekeeper. Because boundaries, we didn't talk about boundaries today, but that is a big part of knowing where your limits are. But it's just allowing you to realize that this is your life and you are at the center of your world. I really don't care what people have to say, because if you aren't the center of your life, how do you live? How do you live? Because if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not enjoying your own company, what type of life is that? So I said a lot. And I just want to give you some time to sit with whatever's coming up for you. And potentially creating 2 lists. Basically, if you have your journal and your pen, take a pen and just make a line straight down the middle, dividing it into 2 equal parts. And think about your inner world being the life that you have in your household and the life that you have in your body and what that experience is like. And then on the other side, you can write the experiences that you want to have within your household and with your body. So kind of like a current assessment of what you're going through, and seeing where you want to pivot, where you want to make a change, where you want to shift. And you can do that with how you interact with the outer world as well. And so just to clarify, if we're thinking about our lives in these 4 layers, the 2 inner layers, your inner world, is you and your body and you and your home. Those are the 2 places. And your home is your physical space where your body resides, okay? And then your outer world is those who is in your direct community, who you allow to have access to you, and your relationship with those people, and then as well as your relationship with the world. And like when I say the world, I mean like the government and politics and all those things that I don't really talk about, because it just doesn't matter to me. There are other things in the world that matter to me, like eco-friendliness and, saying hello to the trees and talking to the moon and the stars. But that's how I interact with the world. And so it's just figuring out how are you interacting with these things. That's what I want you to create space for today. So the next 3 minutes are for you to reflect on everything that is come up for you, and I have some reflection prompts on the screen today. And so you can do that activity that I talked about, or you can just sit with whatever comes up for you. There's no wrong way to do this, and there's no right way to do it. Just do whatever feels good, do what feels good for your body, okay? So I'm gonna do that, and tomorrow we're gonna chat about another aspect of building your home directory, and it starts with figuring out your preferences. That's what we're going to talk about, preferences tomorrow. Okay? So I will see you in the next episode. I hope you're having a great day. Bye.
If anything resonated with you during this episode, pass it along to a friend. Let's continue the chain reaction of inspiration. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can stay updated with all things Duelist Bloom by joining the Village community email list. The link is in the description below. I hope that today is everything you needed to be and more, and remember, you are an inspiration.